During the programming, you may face some issues specifically related to debugging. Whenever you are writing any code, you may find there are some mistakes. Let us try to understand those mistakes and let us understand how to rectify that. So I am using the same programs which we have seen in the previous video. Now let us see one by one. So the first program is this one where we have seen how to convert distance which is given in centimeters into its equivalent inches. So intentionally I have made mistake while writing this code. Now let us execute this particular code. So when I execute this code, see what I am going to get is a syntax error. It says end of line while scanning string literal. So this is the message. Now the meaning of this message is that the double quote symbol which should be over here, this is missing. So most of the time during typing you may find brackets or double colon or double quotes, they are missing. So you need to understand this. So let us run this code now. So now this code is running perfectly fine, and if I write now this 10 centimeter distance, so now it is perfectly getting converted into 3.94 inches. Now let us understand another type of error and let us try to debug it. So I am considering this program now. This is calculating the area of the triangle. If you see overall, this looks very fine. Now when I run this, see what I am going to get. Now I am going to get a message that invalid syntax. That means there is some issue in the syntax and it is specifically showing that there is a syntax error in this particular line. If you talk about the code, in this line there is a syntax error. Now the syntax error over here which I have intentionally introduced is the % symbol is missing over here. This is a part of your format specifier. So now if I execute this particular code with the correction of adding a % symbol just before the variable area, now you are able to run the code. Now if I say 3.5 is the base of the triangle and 6 is the height of the triangle, then I should be able to get 10.5 square centimeter as the area of the triangle. Now let us move ahead to next code. This code also looks very fine as far as if you look at overall. Now let us run this. Now this is it is saying that enter the side of the square plot. So I am saying 30. Now see, I am going to get a message that is unsupported operand type * power. So basically what it is doing is here value is getting stored from this input function into a variable b, but here I missed to convert a given input by the user into its equivalent float or integer. So here you have to write it down over here as float. So conversion of given input into float or maybe integer, this is missing. So now if I execute this and if I give 30, so I am able to get 900 square feet as the area of the plot. Now move ahead. In this program, we are trying to find out the area of a plot which is having a trapezoidal shape. If you look overall, this program looks fine. Now let us try to execute this. So when I execute this, so it is asking me what is the smaller side. Let us say 30, larger side is 32.5, and let us say vertical distance is, let us say, 25. Now once I press this enter key, it is going to give me that name h is not defined. Now what is the error in this? So here if you look in this particular code, I am storing the value of vertical distance into a variable which is called as capital H. So whatever value, in this case let us say I have entered 25. So in capital H 25 will be stored, but when we are calculating the area, now in this case what is happening, this small h is written. So small h, there is no value in here. So there is a difference in small h and capital H. So Python is treating both h independently, and since it is not finding any value in the variable small h, that's why it is going to give me this error that name h is not defined. So the best way of dealing this error is either you write capital H over here or you can store a value in small h. Now let us execute this one more time with the correction, and here I am going for only small h. So once I execute this, let us say this is 30, this is 32.5 and height is, let us say, 25. So now I am able to get the correct area of the trapezoidal plot. Let us move ahead to the new one. So this is the program for calculation of area of a plot having a corner rounded. So let us execute this. So now what it is asking me, what is the smaller side? So I am putting the random values, let us say 30, largest side is let us say 35, and radius is let us say 2. Now what error message I am getting, that name math is not defined. So here I am using math.py. So since I am using a mathematical library, I should import math. So import math is missing over here. So here I just need to have import say math. So although value is written here correctly, but I forgot to import the math. So now this this error has been rectified. Now let us execute this. So import math is done. So smaller side is let us say 30 and larger side is let us say 35 and the radius is let us say 2.5. So now my code is working perfectly fine. The only problem was import math was not there. Now let us move on to next code where I am calculating the resultant and angle from the two components of the forces. Now let us execute this and try to find out what is the issue. So after execution you will find there is an invalid syntax and it is telling me that there is an error in this line. So if you look at this particular line, what is missing is a simple comma over here. So we have to segregate all the parameters which are there in print statement with the proper comma. So let us execute this one more time. So I am going to give x component as let us say 10 newtons, y component is let us say 20 newtons, and as a result I am going to get resultant as 22.36 newton and 63.43 degrees. Now here the code is perfectly fine, it is giving me output. Now let us try this one more time. Now in this case what I am doing is the x component of a force I am going to give 0 and y component is let us say 10. So now basically there is no x component, there is only y component, so resultant should be 10 and the angle should be 90. But when I execute this, see I am going to get error. Now I am going to get error in this particular portion where the angle is getting calculated. Now remember our fx value is 0. So if any value is divided by 0, it is going to give you error because we are going to create an infinite value over here. So this should not happen, right? So this particular type of error is called as runtime error, where your code is working perfectly fine, but because of input, it may give you an error. So here 0 is not going to work, but if you run this one more time, maybe with 10 and say 20, so it is working perfectly fine. Now let us move on to the next program. Now in this program, we are calculating or we are converting a temperature from degrees Fahrenheit to its equivalent temperature in degrees Celsius. Now let us execute this. So when I run this, I am going to get invalid syntax error and in this particular line. Now this line looks perfect because here most of the time we don't write a multiplication symbol after the bracket when you are writing it manually. So this is a very common mistake, that whenever you are converting a formula or an equation into its equivalent arithmetic statement in coding language, so most of the times the multiplication symbol is missing. This is same thing is happening over here. So I should write a multiplication sign just before 5, then your code will be working perfectly fine. So let us run this. So let us say the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit is let us say 100 degrees and then its equivalent temperature is now 37.78 Celsius. Coming to the last one, let us execute this code and see what is happening. So this code is going to tell you how many bricks are there in a stack of brick. So now once I run this, I am going to get a syntax error, that unexpected end of while phrasing, right? So it is telling me that here there is a error. Now what is the error? So here you need to count the number of brackets. So here the starting bracket is appearing once, here starting bracket is appearing twice, and here closing bracket is only appearing only once. There is no closing bracket. So there are two opening brackets, so there has to be two closing bracket. So one opening bracket and one closing bracket. So this is done. The closing of this bracket is missing. So here I just need to add one more bracket over here so that my code will be working perfectly fine. Now let us execute this. So length is, let us say, 1 meters, width is also 1 meters, and the height is also 1 meter. So tentatively you can find that number of bricks which are there in stack of 1 cubic feet is 698 numbers. So this is how the errors can be solved and your coding can be improved. Thank you.